Hi friends, first time this is I am doing the live streaming. In this class I am going to discuss about the middlewares in Node.js and Express.js. We are going to discuss about the how to configure and how to um, implement the middlewares in Node.js and Express.js. First we are going to discuss the what is the middleware. Middleware is just a function. Middleware is just a function that is able to have the that able to access the our request object and response object and in the next middleware function also in application request and response cycle. If you see the syntax of the middleware, this is the syntax of the middleware. It is our request. Like suppose it is our code. In this code we are going to trigger the get, like a get http method. In this http method, it consists of the middleware. It is a some just function. It is a function. In this function it is able to take the it is able to access control of the accessing the request parameter. Like request parameter means it is the object only, request object and response object and next. It is a function, it is a callback function. You will able to see here callback argument to the middleware function called next. By convention we are giving here next. Second one is the first one is the callback argument to the middleware function called next by convention. The second one is like HTTP response argument. This is the this second one is the HTTP response argument to the middleware function. By convention, we are calling as a response. Like first one is like HTTP request argument to the middleware function that is called the request. We are calling the REQ by convention. This is the middleware. In the middleware, if the it contains some statements or some code it contains. If the code is okay, it will we are going to next means we are going to able to call the next function. Next function is maybe the middleware. Next function is maybe the middleware or it may be the controller means our actual code. Suppose I'm going to explain one scenario. Suppose it is my user interface component. I'm going to take one more. It is my user interface. It is my UI component. Like you can take as a front end part, front end, front end. This is my back end. Suppose back end, or you can call it as a server also. In middle, suppose a front end is a triggered one request, or front end is a called one request, like one request. He is called one request. In between, in the server itself only, we have enabled or uh, we have implemented one middleware. Like what that middleware is called authentication middleware. Authentication middleware. Suppose I am writing here auth middleware. Auth middle. Auth middleware. This auth middleware is able to tell us about that. It will going to check. Suppose in the front end part, I'm going to checking I'm going to the suppose login or registration. Suppose I'm in the login page. I'm going to click on here login login page. Here I have entered user credentials like username or user ID or password. I have entered and I click on the submit button. Suppose I have click on the submit button. This is a submit button. If you click on the submit button, it is going to server or backend application. In the middle, in the before going to the triggering the actual controller or actual logic, it will going to first trigger, it will going to call the first middleware like auth middleware. In this auth middleware, it is going to check the actual whether the login credentials are correct or not. Like correct or not means uh, correct or not means it is going to check whether this user id and password is correct or not, and it's going to trigger, it will do the some operations with the db. Actually, it will trigger, it will call the some db operations, like it will do the some data accessing and data processing operations in the between in the middleware itself only. uh, and it will going to check whether the this log user id and your password is not correct. Suppose it will going to call the error middleware, like your credentials are mismatch. Try to in the front end itself only, it will give the response like in the response itself only, it will going to give the it will going to give the response like your credentials are mismatched or unauthorized user. Like some message will give, it is give the some error message like unauthorized or user credentials are mismatched. Suppose your credentials are matched with the database in the db. In that case, it will going to transfer your next like next means it will going to give it will going to access, we are going to access the this user going to access the logic part of this logic of the controllers. The controllers, we have the actual logic, it will going to access the controller. In the front end part, he may get the some dashboard page or some profile page. He will get the home page, he will get the some home page. Not only this, in the admin also, suppose I'm going to tell one more scenario. This is one scenario like uh, this is one scenario like login, login and dashboard. You can call it as login and dashboard page scenario. Yes. Login and dashboard page. One more scenario is like, suppose this is the front end part. He is already logged in, but he is trying to, this is my backend part. Actually, I am in the home page. Actually, I am in the home page. I have already logged in, but I am trying to access the some more things. Like suppose I am going to access the admin credentials. Like I am going to trigger slash admin. I am going to access this admin API. Suppose in the admin API, here also we will give the, I'm going to change this one. Here also we are going to write some more logic for from before going to server to access the admin. Here also we are going to check one middleware like a authorization middleware. You can call it as authorization or you can call it as admin middleware. Uh, Here I'm going to make it as a authorization. Authorization, whether authorization means whether is like this user able to access the admin page or not, admin request or not. This is called as authorization middleware. Authorization middleware, authorization middleware. First, this user or ui user is able to access this one, and suppose he is not permitted, like this user will not have the permission to access the admin role, he have admin role, he is getting the like you are not able to access, like message like this user uh, will not have the permission to access the admin, like will not have permission to access the this admin url or admin dashboard. Suppose he is having the permission, suppose he is having the permission, he is able to access the some more controllers, and is going to it will going to trigger the like backend server, not like this, server, or you can call it as backend. I'm going to trigger one more. This is called front end, front end, front end part to access, and you will get the response like this. Control Z, Control Z, delete. Okay, and I'm going to able to access the response from the URL. Some response I will get from the backend to front end part. If the request is successful, like in the middleware, authorization middleware is able to perform the like a write operation, like it will going to first check the database whether the he is able to, like this user is able to access the slash admin, he is having the admin role or not. It will going to check in the database, and if the permission is able to there, like he is able to have the permission to able to access the slash admin router, he is going to uh, get the response from the controller or some logic. We will going to implement, there are five ways of able to implement the middlewares. Like one is the application level middleware, and the second one is the third party middleware, and third one is the router level middleware. Fourth one is the built-in middleware, and fifth one is the error middleware. Like here, if you observe here, this is the one part of middleware. This is the syntax for we are going to implement, or we are going to configure the middlewares. But there is a some more ways also we can same like we are going to configure or we can implement the middlewares. I'm going to show using the coding. First, I'm going to open my command prompt. In this, I'm going to, in the E directory, cd application dir. In this, I'm going to create one application here. Make dir Node and Express.js middleware. Node and Express.js middleware. I'm going to create one folder. cd Node and Express.js middleware. In this, open the my command VS Code IDE here. Here in this, I'm going to open the my terminal here. First, I'm going to npm init -y. I'm not going to give the all the values, all the package for initialization the uh, package.json. I'm going to initiate this command. That's why I'm going to giving the npm init -y. If you give the npm init -y means it will automatically takes the values automatically through this folder. If you observe this, it will taking the some time. Okay, package dot file is generated. If you see this, if you one second click on this package.json, if you see this name, what is my package name means express middleware. Express middleware we got it here, and version we got the 1.1 1.0.0, and main is we got the index.js, and scripts and some keywords and license we got here. If you here in the description, this is node and Node.js and Express.js middlewares. First, we are going to install npm I, or install. We can use the install also express npm install express, and then we are going to install the nodeman. Npm install nodeman. You know that nodeman is like a monitoring tool. No need to rerun the application. We can using this node man we can once we can run the using the application using the node man, it will automatically checks the file where is the file we have modified, automatically rerun the application. We are using here dev dependencies. We are installing in the dev dependency. If you observe here, we got the dev dependency. And in the come to the my scripts object, here I'm going to write two scripts. One is the start script and another one is the first one is node index.js and second one is dev, and that one is called nodemon index.js, comma, don't forget here, and create the index file. This is the start file. In this index file we are going to write a const express equal to first wait friends, we are instead of writing the common JS module here in the version, after the version we are going to change the type to module, change to module, and come to here in the we are going to use the import statement es module, ES6 module we are going to use import express from express. Then create one const variable called port. We are going to use process.env.port, or if suppose my port is not enabled in the environmental variables, not there in my environmental variable, I am going to use my default port. I am going to use my else port like a 5001 port. Next, create a application using the express function. Then come to my app.listen, write the listen function and give the first parameter is like port, second one is like callback function of console.log server is running on port number port. Here I'm going to give, if you try to like run the application, we are going to use npm run start or npm run dev. Two ways we can install. But if you using this npm start, if you suppose you in your application you're doing any changes, this npm run start will not be affect. If you try to in the npm run start, it will not be rerun the like restart the application. But if you do using the npm run dev if you do this any like suppose here I'm going to first we are going to do the application level. We are coming by directly going the writing the middlewares. We are going to do the application level middleware. First I'm going to write one middleware here. Middleware is like it is a function, it is able to access the, it is able to have control of our request and response and next functions. Here I'm going to write one middleware called logger middleware. Logger middleware, it is able to have the, I'm going to write the normal function instead of the writing the array like arrow functions. Request, it able to take the three parameters request, response and next function. Sorry, this normal anonymous function. In this I'm going to write the one console statement like uh, date. First I'm going to print new date, then request method, then I'm going to print the request method. Request method is like request dot method. What request method we are going to triggering, like we are going to passing through browser or passing through uh, like some tools like a postman or insomnia, like it will going to check the it will going to console this, and what method we are triggering, and what one more thing we are going to see, what URL we are using, like what endpoint we are using, or you can call as what URL also. What URL, request dot URL. This request contains the, it is a object, it contains the so many elements, like it contains the params, like it request contains the body, and it request contains the method, each and every part, what is the what required, it required what like it requires so many things, like request object requires there present in the request object contains so many things. In that, this method, URL, and body params, these are objects, these are like elements, properties, sorry, not elements, now it is a property. It contains, this request object contains, if you try to use this, if you try to suppose, if you try to use this logger middleware in application itself means, like if you trigger any API, suppose you are triggering some unnecessary API also, it will going to trigger, like it will going to call the this middleware. How to access this? Suppose api.use logger middleware, simple, like this you can trigger, suppose, but it is will not affecting here. Why? Because means, why because means we haven't triggered any we haven't called any API, like suppose we haven't called any API, suppose I'm triggering, open my Chrome browser, I'm taking the new window, suppose, what is the method we are using, localhost column 5001 5001, suppose I'm giving here like a users see, it is browser is rendering. Why? Because of means, we come to my application itself here, if you forgot here, we haven't given the request function, we haven't call the request function, you have to must and should call this request function, then only this request function is going to transfer the request and response, sorry, this next function, if you call the next function itself only, sorry friends, and previously we called, I haven't I spoke about the request, sorry, not request, it is the next, you have to give, you have, if you are giving, if you are going to transfer your request and response to the next, like a next function, like a next controller or next middleware, you have to give the, next function in the end of your, or where you are want that, where you are required to give this next function, you have to must and should call this function, then only the logger method, the middleware, this middleware will be going to transfer, like it will going to transfer your sorry, request and response to the, uh, next controller or next middleware. Suppose you can give the n number of middlewares also, suppose you can give here one more middleware, like second middleware, or second middleware function, I'm going to write the request and response, and next you can call like same, like you can call, this is application middleware in second part, second middleware, application second middleware. If you forget to here, suppose you have given here next function, if you want to use this, suppose you want to use the second middleware here in the app.use second middleware, like this you have to use, and suppose I'm going to call that, is this uh, in the error middleware, come to my error middleware here, suppose I'm giving the API slash v1 slash users, see, I'm triggering here by because we got here again it is browsing means come to my come to my backend API backend C. You are getting this Saturday. Saturday, November, date and time. We got request method. We have given the get and the URL. We have given the API slash v1 slash user. Suppose given the square brackets. It should be nice. See once again come to my browser, and if you want to trigger this trigger, come to my uh, backend server. See, you will, I have once again triggered that API. That's why it is giving like this. See, we got the date and time, and request method is get, and request URL is like API slash v1 slash user. This is like application second middle. Second one, this is calling. Second middleware is like this one. If you suppose you are giving like this, instead of logger middleware I have given second, and first I have, and the first I have given the second middleware. Suppose I have given like this. See, in the what where is the my browser? Come here and open once again new window. Open the new window. Here I'm going to give localhost. What is my port number? 500,001 slash users slash user slash username user ID. I'm going to give or API v1 slash users. Suppose I'm giving like this. See, you are able to see again it is loading or rendering. Come to my backend API. See, this is application second middle. Why? Because it is showing like this two times. Maybe I have used here anything. Localhost. See, it is rendering. See, we got the application. This is the application second middle. This is calling, but logger middleware is not calling because of we haven't passed here. We haven't called the next function. Suppose we are going to call this next function. We are going to call this next function. See, we have triggered. We got the some error called cannot get the slash. We can rewrite this method also. We can nicely design the error also. We will see in this only, in this session only we are going to see how to design the nice error handler middleware also. Come to my here, we can see writing middlewares here. It is a looking not looking nice. We can use the cleaner way. I am going to remove this one. I am going to divide this into the middlewares part. Come on to my create one folder called src. In this src folder, create inside src folder, create one middleware called come folder called middlewares. In this middlewares, we are going to create one file. I'm going to name it as a logger.middleware.com, middleware.js, not com dot js. In this, I'm going to write one nice logger middleware dot middleware equal to request. We can take the function normal anonymous function request comma response comma next. Here I'm writing the console dot, here take the new date request method, request dot method, what request we are getting, and one more is like request URL, request dot URL. Don't forget the next function. If you write this next function, getting able to transfer our request and response to the next middleware or next controller. Wait once. Okay, next function, and export this export of logger middleware. Come on here and import logger middleware from /src/middlewares, and if you want to use this app.use logger middleware, you can comment on application level middleware. This is the application level middleware. Don't forget here .js. That's why it is giving the error. If you come on to my web browser, suppose I am giving here localhost. What is my port number? 5001. 5001. Suppose I have triggered here. Cannot get the slash, because means we haven't written any routes here. That's why we are getting the cannot get the slash. If you see, observe in the console here, if you observe in the console, we got the date and time, and request method. We have what method we have used means get method. What is the URL we have used means slash. Suppose in the here I have used the, like, instead of the slash we can use the API/v1 or API/user. Suppose we have used, if you trigger, like if you submit this and come on to my console, see once again, if you say 2 times I have submitted, that's why we are get the 2 times. uh, if you go to use, if you want to use the postman, I can use the postman also. Come on my postman, I'm opening my using my postman. I can going to trigger the request and response like APS. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to create here one blank collection. I'm going to name it as a express middle. Express middle. I'm going to name it as here. First, I'm going to check the one request called health check. Health check. In this, I'm going to call localhost 5001 slash health check. Suppose I'm giving this health check. Suppose you have clicked on the, you have selected the get method. If you click on this send button, we got the here HTML is the response. If you see, if you go to the backend application, see here we got the date and time with a request method is the get method. URL request URL is what, like slash health check. Come on to my, once again change this method to post and trigger the once again this send button. See, we got the same response like a with a different message like a cannot post slash health check. Come on to my browser, come on to my backend application. See, you are able to see one more response, one more log function here is a date and time with a request method. We have given the post and request URL is a slash health check. This is the application level middleware. Second one is the router level middleware. In this router level, we have to give some routes. First, we have to create the some routes. The router, or you can call it the root level middleware. Root level middleware. Before connecting this, before writing this route middleware, we have to create one folders in this controllers and routes. Routes. In this, I'm going to write contact Suppose I'm going to write like I'm going to take user routes.js. Next, in the controllers also, I'm going to create one file called user.controller.js. Controllers.js. Here, first I'm going to write the controllers. Here, I'm going to user get user request, or I am going to take the function like normal and request comma response. Here I'm going to send the response like a some dummy response like a response dot status of 200 dot json status. I'm going to give here is a 200. I'm going to give, and message I'm going to give get all user got user information. Like next is like success is true. Like same way I'm going to create one more controller here, create user. In this create user also I'm going to write the some dummy message function. Actually in the real time it consists of the some actual logic. Like first you have to trigger the database, like go to the database and access the information whether the user information are there or not. Then we are going to proceed with that, give the information to the my UI part, or through API I'm going to send the response. Here also in the create user also return response dot status of 201 dot json status 201 and message user created successfully. User created successfully. Successfully. User 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 created successfully, and in the success I'm going to give the true, not false, true. Here. Import this, export this, export get user and create user. Create user. Come to my routes. It is a finish, and the logger method was also finished. Come to my, here we are going to only take the router from the export import router from the express, and import the controllers also, user controllers also. Import get user comma create user from dot slash controller slash user controller dot js. Don't forget this dot js, and create one router using the router function, and export this default, export this as a default, export default router, and write the router dot route of slash users. I'm going to give get user dot get method of, we are going to call the get user. Then one more router is like router dot route slash user. It is like you can give the create user dot post. We are giving the here post create user. We are going to call the create user function. In this, suppose I'm going to my postman service. In this service create one request called here get user. Before I'm going to try to use this one router, come to my index.js and app dot use of first import router from user router from dot src slash routes slash user routes.js. Then you have to call the user router with some route slash API slash v1. Then here we are going to use the get user, create user. Two things we are going to use. Suppose I'm going to my postman in the HTTP column slash slash localhost column 5001 slash API slash v1 slash get user. Suppose I'm giving this router. See, I'm getting the here message like a status is 200, got user information and true, success. One more, um, suppose one more request I'm creating here like a post request, post like sorry, create user, post request only, but your request name I'm changing here, create user. I'm changing here request method to post, and here click on this, and if you suppose click on this one, we got the like cannot post. Actually it is a get method, we cannot get we cannot use the post method. Instead of in the post method we are going to call like a create user and click on the send button. See, 201 status is a 201, message user created successfully and success is a true. See, but in the here how we are going to use the middleware means, in the same how we have created in the logger middleware, we are going to create one middleware here, authentication dot here suppose middleware dot js, authentication dot middleware dot js, here create one auth middleware equal to function is also able to request response and next and try to trigger. Here I'm going to take one const variable set that like a dummy variable. I'm going to take as auth status is equals to true. Actually we have to do this status checking using the some database connections. In the real time we are going to use the some database connection, and we like database connections means we have to take the some actually this request will give the some body part. In that body part it contains the some user information like a user id and password and full name. These all contains in the request. Using that fields we are going to trigger the database operations like first we are going to access the user information from the user schema of the user schema. Then we are going to check the whether the user id and password is able to there in the our my database or in the MySQL or MongoDB, or you can take the any database. If whether it is there, we are going to give the here response auth status is true. We are going to proceed with that. Suppose my auth status is true, we are going to call the next function. Next function means we are going to like this controller will be passed. How we will be control will be able to trigger means only in the case of we are going to able to use this. How we are going to using this same like in the routes also we are going to use in the routes also we are going to use like a first export this export auth middleware, come to my user routes dot in the route level. If you give here if you give your auth middleware in the routes, it is called as route level. Here you have to give auth middleware comma get user. get user, import that one also, don't forget. Import auth middleware from the dot slash middleware slash authentication dot middleware dot js, and here you have to give the auth middleware. See, suppose I am making here this one as a false. Suppose I am making this one as a false. Here I'm going to call suppose return, or I'm going to suppose I'm going to give here one method call. I'm going to write one error call, one next error called a status. I'm giving here it is a 401 unauthorized, 401 unauthorized, and message I'm going to give not authenticated. You can give simple message not authenticated, not authenticated, not authenticated. We are going to handle in the error handle how we are going to see this one while handling the errors, while giving the writing the error handler middleware. We are going to handle also this one, how to handle. First come to my postman, and uh, postman here. Suppose I check first. I'm going to leave with my true. If you want to see this whether this authentication middleware is able to act trigger like performing the this in the middleware, this middleware is able to access or not, we are going to check the using the some message, console message like authentication middleware triggered, triggered, you can call as triggered, triggered. Come to my response. uh, if you click on this send button, suppose you see we got the status 200, got user information, and success is a true. Suppose see here, see we got the two things here. One is like a logger, like application level middleware, this middleware, this logger middleware. Another one is the authentication trigger, this one is trigger. I'm going to write this one in the else case. That case only we are going to trigger. Sorry, this one not. Control Z, copy, cut, and else case I'm going to write. Once again trigger this send button and see, and come to my backend. See, now it is not able to visible. See, first one is server is running, then the first one is the uh, this application. See this logger middleware, this application level middleware is triggering. Then second one is the authentication middleware is triggered. This one here it is triggered. We will see one more. If we trigger this one, we can call and see whether this middleware is able to access or not. Here middleware is able to access or not, we will see. Here come to my uh, and click on the create user, and click on this send button. See, we got the status 201 and message is user created successfully, and success message is like a true. See, we have performed the this create user, and come to my backend application. See, we have did the one response, we have sent the one response in that one request called post request. In that post request URL is the slash api slash v1 slash create user. But in this, while creating the user, in this we are not able to trigger the, we are not able to there the middleware called auth middleware, because we haven't given the auth middleware in this here. We performed only the auth middleware, we have enabled only the auth middleware to the get user only. We haven't enabled, like we haven't used this auth middleware in the create user. If you suppose if you give this auth middleware here also in the route level also, this this route also, see, if you click on this send button, see, send button, we got the here, see, date and time, and request method is a post, and URL you got. This is authentication middleware is triggered. See, this one is triggered. Once remove and see, once again perform this, perform the create user and see. This one is this authentication middleware is not triggered because of means we have enabled the only authentication middleware to the only this route only. Like this, we can perform the route level middleware. Only if you want to perform this only single route only, we can use this. We can use like this. If you want to use this post, put, and delete, and something else means you can enable the each and every route for according to your requirement. Next one we are going to perform one more like a error middleware. How to perform the error? Suppose my this one is instead of giving here true, I'm giving the false. In that case, come to my get user, click on this here. See, we got the object here, but we haven't handled this error nicely. We haven't handled the error nicely. If you see in this here also, object in the form of object. If you try to handle this, we are going to use like error middleware. For that also, I'm going to create one middleware called in the middleware folder. I'm going to create called error.middleware.js. Middleware.js. Here in the error middleware, here we have the four parameters instead of the five parameters, instead of the three parameters, sorry, instead of the three parameters, here we contains the four parameters. That is called, first one is a, I'm going to name it as the error handler, error handler, error comma, like I'm going to take the normal function, error comma, error comma, request comma, response comma, response comma, and the next function. Suppose here I'm going to handle, first I'm going to take the one const variable like a status. Here error dot status, I'm going to check whether my response consists of the error dot status. I'm going to give the status, or I'm going to give error dot code. Error got out. I'm going to check this error also. Suppose my error contains the code also. Suppose error code means like this one only, status only in the form of code. Whether the code also not present, I'm going to give, suppose code is present, I'm going to give the code. Suppose code is not present, suppose error code, response status code is not present, I'm going to give the 500. Like this, I'm going to create one more variable called message, error dot message. Suppose my object, error object this is also some object only. This object consists of some variables, so in the form of status or in the form of code. Suppose my error consists of the status like a 400, 300, 200, 201, 203. I'm going to give the directly error dot status. Suppose my code consists of the error dot in the form of code, like my key name, my property name is like code. I'm going to give the my error dot code. Or suppose my error is not consists of the code, error dot code that in I'm giving the directly 500 is the response. Error dot message, error dot message here also. Suppose my error dot message is consists of, I'm going to give the error dot message. Otherwise, I'm going to give something went wrong. Or you can give the internal error also. Return response dot status of 200, sorry, not 200, I'm going to give status only, status dot json, here I'm going to pass like a object in the form of object, status column status message column message, and success, automatically this if we are handling the error means the success is false only. This is false only. Export this. Export error handler. Export error handler. See, once again I'm going to explain this this one. This I'm going to handle the error handler. In this error handler, it consists of the four parameters. Like one is like a error, second one is like a request, response, and next function. In this way, I'm going to collecting the two variables like a status and message. Suppose my error object, this object consists of the status like a some code like a 201, 202, 203. I'm going to checking this as a conditional rendering. Suppose my it consists of the some variable like suppose it is undefined. I'm going to directly checking the code. Suppose in the form of code like a my error property my error object consists of the code property. Suppose this one also fails, directly I'm giving the 500. Or you can check the one more also like suppose this one also fails means I'm going to give the error dot status code. This code error dot status code, like this also we can give. So many ways we are going to check. Suppose it consists of the error dot status. Suppose my code is in the form of I have given error dot status. I'm giving the directly error dot status. Suppose I'm not given in the status, only I have given in the key property like a code column 201, 203 like this. Means I'm going to give the error dot code. It would going to represent in the error dot code. Or whether the this one also I have not given, this property also undefined. Suppose this property also not there in the uh, not there in the error object. I'm going to check one more property called error dot status code. Suppose this one also not given, in that case I'm going to write the 500 is the error. In the suppose authentication middleware I have given status. Here means status means directly we can status is there. Suppose my error object consists of the status status is the keyword. Directly we can give the it is consists of, it will comes to the 401. Suppose here I am going to give the code. I'm going to give the code means this is the false because my error object does not contain the status. My error object only consists of the code. That's why I have run like this. I have used it like this. Suppose my error object not consists of the code also. My error object consists of the status code. Status code. In that case, this one is going to trigger. This condition will be success and it will give the status code. Suppose my error object not contains any code. Suppose only message we got. Message we got only message I have only given here. In that case, we will get the 500. I'm going to show here each and every. I'm going to give here each and every. First I'm going to give 401. Come to my post. Come to my postman and get user information and click on this. Why I'm not going to getting this? Okay, sorry friends, come to my here in the last of this of the all the routes here, error handler middleware, error handler middleware app dot use, like how we are used here in the logger middleware, same like we are going to use the error handler, like same like you have to configure. Before configure you have to import this error handler from the error.middleware.js. Error handler, why we got in this like this? Identify error handler as already declared. Maybe somewhere is declared. Yeah, I think it is declared here. It is declared here. And once again send this one. See, we got the response like a 401 and a message is like not authenticated, success is false. Why? Because of me here. Come to my backend application here, in the authentication middleware. Here I have auth status I have mentioned here false, means that way it is going to the else case, it is triggering the next, it is automatically coming. If you give the next with some parameter, if you pass the next with some object, like any object, it will automatically it will comes to the error middleware. I'm going to tell in the form of, come to my here, and where is that, okay, come to my here. Suppose I'm going to write one scenario here. It is consists of the my application. In this application, it consists of the lot of like a lot of controllers and lot of middleware. Suppose you can take like this. I'm going to take this, how this suppose my application consists of the three things, like here, um, this is a like this is one middleware. Suppose first middleware, I'm going to name it as a first middleware. Suppose this is first middleware, or you can call it as logger middleware, logger middleware, auth middleware, and one more is like, suppose this one is like a controller. Actually, this is the actual controller, and it is not middleware. In this controller also, we can trigger the some next functions, like the controller also is able to access the next function. Suppose in the auth middleware, suppose we got the some error or some disturbance is created. Disturbance means like user is, suppose uh, in the front end part you have given the username and user id and password, but in the auth middleware, suppose that it will checking the database, the suppose user id and user password is not correct in the database, and it will give the, in that case that status is false, we got that, it will going to perform the next with some object, like a not authenticated, not not is a credentials as mismatch. We got the credentials. In that case, we are going to uh, this is the error handler. In this case, we are going to perform the error. In the, not only this case, in the controller also, actual controller logic also. Suppose somewhere we have did the some mistake, or some database connection is lost. Suppose in the controller part, we are doing the some cloudinary like uploading and downloading things in the controller part, or uploading things we are doing in the controller part. Suppose we lost the got. In that case, we are going to triggering the like one error. Like suppose we are triggering here one error called uh, like internal server error. You can suppose we were getting the some internal server error. In that case also, you can give the object like a error object, like a message like a upload failed or connection lost with cloudinary, like I'm going to uploading in the cloudinary. Suddenly I got the I lost the connection with the cloudinary. I got message like a, I'm going to giving like a message called connection lost with the cloudinary. Here also, in here also I got a message like a, I'm giving the message like a not authenticated, or credentials mismatch, not authenticated, authenticated I'm giving message like a not authenticated. This message will going to handle, this message will be handled by this error handler. That is the reason for we are using the error handler. We are not handling here. We are separately creating one error handler function or error handler method. This method will able to handle the errors and status code, and it will produce like a this format. This will give like this format. I told like I told like I'm going to explain like a this one code. See, instead of the status, I have given like a code. If you submit this one, see, we got the 401 with not authenticated and false. See, now also we trigger. Suppose I am going to give the status code. Instead of the code, I am giving it a status code. If you click on this, here also, now also we are getting the status 401. Suppose I'm not giving anything and only message I'm going to passing. In that case, it will going to take the status is the 500 not authenticated and false. Why? Because means my in the response sorry, in the error object I haven't given any status code. Like I have not given any property called status. I'm not given any property called code. I'm not given any property called status code. Three properties are not given, only I'm sending the message only. In that case, it is automatically going to handle the come to my error handle, automatically take the 500 is the default status code, and give the in the response, in the error response. But I'm going to here give the some status code like a 401 comma not message is not authenticated. Come to my this, you can delete you can remove this one, you can remove this one, remove this one, and remove this one. And one more is like we have performed the three. Come to my index.js, we have performed the three things like application level middleware, route level middleware, and error handler middleware. And one more fourth one is like built-in middleware. Built-in middleware. Built-in middleware. Here, suppose in this create user, I'm going to give some body JSON. Here, I'm going to before I'm going to give here. Come to my user. Where is that? Controller user.controller. Here, come to my create user. Here, console.log request body data, or request body we can give request.body. I'm going to access my fields with using the request.body. But if you come to my request to create username, I'm giving like a my name as a here. Next one, password. Here I'm giving the dummy password. If you suppose click on this send button, see, I'm got status code is a 201 user created successfully. Success is like a true, and come to my application itself. Body request body I'm got the undefined. By because of means we have to access the JSON variables or to access the uh, JSON fields. We have to use the one middleware called app.use. How we have used it in the custom middlewares. Actually, you can call it as a this middlewares also, custom middlewares also. Uh, Custom middlewares. Here I have to give the express dot, in the express itself only one middleware is there, express.json. Express.json. Suppose I'm once again I'm triggering here, click on this send button, see, See, status code is a 201, message is the user created successfully, success is like true. See, in the request body, if you observe in the user control, we are getting like a username and password. Or you can give the here one more thing like a full name also, full name, full name I'm giving like a this and submit this one. Come to my browser request body, username, password, and full name. We got the three things because of this built-in middleware. In the some more middleware is also available like a like a express dot what is that URL encoded. In this URL encoded, we are going to create one more object extended equal to true. This will help while using the images or while while sending the form images or uh, while sending through the form, this form data. In this form there is a form data. This URL encoded is mandatory while sending using the data using this key and value and like text and field. And one more is like app dot use like a express dot if you are able to access the statics like a static images or a JSON or a CSS file in your application. We are going to use this path first. We can give directly folder also, folder name also. Here I'm going to create one folder called public. In this public, it consists of the three things. One is the CSS. One folder is like images, and one more folder is like JSON, JS file, not JSON, JS. Here I'm going to give path.json, sorry, path.join of underscore dir comma public. First, if you want to use this path, we are going to import the path. Path is like a we are not going to install this because of it is a default with the Node.js itself only. This path module. This path module is default with the Node.js itself only. No need to install this externally. It is implicitly there in the Node.js software. If you try to use this, what is this underscore dir name is not defined in the ES code module .js. What is the message we are getting here? Or we can use directly also. So in the common JS it will be helpful, but in this it is triggering one error called. We will see that error in the later part. Uh, but we can use that directly also. Suppose my CSS like images consists of the my image folder consists of the some images. I'm going to take these images from come to my downloads and I'm going to copy these images to the come to my e directory web application Node and Express middleware and sorry this not here and images. Suppose I'm taking here two images in this. Suppose I'm going to access this images. Suppose if you uh, not giving I'm not going to give this statics express the static the for public. If you try to access that one, come here and localhost where is that that images slash what is that name called post schema 05 post schema 05. See, cannot get slash images and slash post schema of 0.png. If you try to enable this one, see, once again access this. I'm going to able to access the my image. In that case also you can give the your own uh, static also. You can give like a slash static Suppose if you try to access like this, you are able to not get. Because of we have changed the URL, static URL. In that case, you have to send the slash static slash images slash post image name, file name. See, if you trigger this one, see, we got this one. If you don't want this, you can remove. You can normally use the public folder. In this, you can directly slash images slash post slash file name. You can use like this. If you say give this, because it is not sending, because slash static is not, I have not enabled the slash static, that's why it is giving the error. You can remove this one also. See, slash images slash post schema slash hyphen 05 dot png. This one is the built-in middleware. How to use the third-party middleware means, suppose I'm going to use like a one middleware is npm JS. Come to my npm JS. I'm going to use Morgan. In this Morgan, I'm going to use this one as a middleware. This one also one logger middleware only. I'm going to show. First, I'm going to install this logger Morgan. Come to my application and npm I Morgan, and uh, if you able to use this, I'm going to use after my logger middleware third party middleware like import from logger from Morgan. If you don't know how to use this, you can refer the documentation of, come here and you can refer this Morgan, like Morgan tiny combined, or you can use the dev also. Come to my application and app.use, same like how we are using this all the middlewares, like same like you can use the logger of, here I'm going to take the dev. If you trigger any URL, suppose I'm triggering this one create user, I'm triggering this create user. Here I'm going to get the two things. One is like why it is request and body response is getting first. Maybe it's asynchronous, that's why we're getting. Suppose I'm going to give this third party middleware in the above. Once again, call this get user. Say why, because of means in the application itself, come to my, close this one and come to my middleware and come to my authentication middleware. You can give this, make it as a true, my authentication status is a true, and click on the get user information status code 200, got user information, success is a true. Come to my this one here, see we got this, and first we got the our logger middleware. In this first we got the logger middleware, this application level middleware, then we got the this triggered this authentication middleware triggered, then we have got the this logger middleware. Why? Because of it is getting lost means in this it consists of the some asynchronous operations. Asynchronous operation, do that asynchronous operations only, it is giving the in the late, or it is giving the at the last. See, what method we have performed here means, like request get method we have performed, URL is like API slash v1 slash get user. Same we got here, and user, get user, and response is like a status code is like a 200, and in the what milliseconds, like 4 point milliseconds it takes the text. Suppose in this create method, suppose we have triggered the create method, create user, and post method we have triggered. See, same like first we have got the our logger middleware, our custom middleware like a logger middleware. Then we got the request body. We haven't sent any request. Why? Because change to raw information, and once again send this one. See, now we got the request body. Say once again we see, observe this, request method is a post date and first we got the date and time, then request method is a post, request URL is a API slash v1 slash create user. Then same here, like a request body we got that. Next one is the post method and API slash v1 slash create user, and um, like status code is like a 201, and in the which what time it will going to trigger, like this method is called, that is the 5.7722 milliseconds. This is the concept of using the, can close this one. This is I have used the all the middlewares, and I have configured the all the middlewares, like a first I have configured the application level middleware, then I have configured the route level middleware, then I have configured the error middleware, then the built-in and third-party middleware. But you have to follow some order to configuring the each and every middleware. Suppose you have mismatched this order, error middleware in the first or in the middle of this, that error middleware cannot be accessed. That's why you have to follow. I'm giving that assignment like a, once check this, giving this error middleware in the between or in the front, and check the error whether the error middleware able to access or not, or triggering or able to calling or not. You have to check that. I'm going to giving this as a assignment. That's all, friends. If you like my explanation and if you like my content, like this entire application, like accessing how to use the middlewares and what is the middleware and how to use the middleware, please like and subscribe my channel and support my channel.